So yesterday was the last possible day for lambs, theoretically based off the calendar from the date that we pulled the rams out of these pens. After checking all these ewes that are left, I don't see any that are showing signs of being broody or starting to develop a bag or anything like that. So I'm pretty sure that we're okay to go ahead and start changing around these pens to adapt to what we need them to be so we can get ready to start the weaning process. So this year, lambing never really went the way we were planning on it going. After talking with some other producers and some people in this area and our vet, we're really just glad that things went as good for us as they did. It really wasn't what we were expecting and what we were planning on, especially with the house spread out like these Suffolks were. So right now, what I need to do is I already have that creep area set up for the other lambs over on the other side of the barn. These Suffolks, there's been enough feeder room for them, and they've just been getting in the feed there with their moms. But I need to set up a creep area better that the ewes can't get into, so that way we can really start limiting everybody and start the weaning process. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. What we've looked at doing is with us being here at the end, we're going to go ahead and tear down both jugs there out of the corner, except for that one here closest to the gate. We're going to go ahead and use it and kind of just build off this side up here to this area and make that the creep area for these Suffolks. That way they can really get pushed here right at the time when we're starting weaning. They're really growing good, these lambs, developing good. Like I said, they get plenty of feed throughout the day as needed, but we just need a spot to where they can still get plenty of feed, but the ewes will be very limited on their resources. So what we're going to do now is go ahead, Rachel's going to go ahead and start tearing down the jugs over there, getting everything tore down with that, and I'm going to start adjusting the panels and gates, basically trying to limit our moves on what we're doing to try to get this set up for these lambs. Just set them on that stand, and then when we're done with these pins here, I'll hand you more.
I'm gonna go put these back on the stand.
Okay. Okay, where's that other? There's another rod on top of that.
Hand this to Daddy. Walk up there and give it to me.
Yeah, let's go get them. Go ahead and do that one.
This bottom one?
No, with the pliers. So the lambs are starting to make their way in and exploring in here. Really like to see that. That's nice. Gives them plenty of room right here. I think this actually will work out better than my original plan, just because there's plenty of room for these lambs in this to get in here and get sideways. So we put in a feed trough here along this panel for them. And this ewe right here, you can see that board hits her just right at the top of the shoulder blades on these two. And what I'm really hoping is that they don't really think they can get in, because there's a 2x4 across the bottom. And I basically went off of what I had on the other side, but you can see these lambs, I mean, they have to duck down to get in. But these ewes, I mean, I'm hoping I made these spots tight enough and small enough that these ewes stay out, just because there's a ewe's back and there's a lamb's back. And only time will tell. And where that really is going to come into play is when we eliminate all feed going to these ewes. They'll really try everything they can to get over there into that feed. Tried to make this one sit just a little bit taller, actually, just because this girl here closest, she's a jumper. She's the one who climbs this gate. And you know, when you eliminate feed, their first instinct's to get to where the feed's at. Nothing will slow them down or stop them. So if they wanted to, so that's why we make these creep gates good. I made sure that there was no pinch points, nowhere that they could get their head through. Over in the corner, we really had to beat a little bit on these panels. And that's kind of the problem with everything we got. So everything's a little bit different, mounts together a little bit different, where about 60% of everything, if not a little bit more, is all mounted together by wire. So things get loose, bend, so it's not a perfectly straight line, but we were able to get this set up really good for my liking, and I'm not worried about a ewe or a lamb getting pinched in there. And you know, that's a problem. We actually had, I think it was probably about 3 years ago, the ewes put a lot of pressure, and I had a bunch of 4-foot gates strung together, kind of making like a bowl almost there in the back of the pen, in this bigger pen over here. And the ewes ended up pushing it over enough to where a lamb was behind it and one of the gates would stay, and that lamb ended up getting suffocated. And you know, so always, ever since then, I'm always thinking about that, you know, setting this stuff up to where there's not a pinch point, and there's not some place like a slot that the lamb or ewe get their head dropped over and not get it back out, because if they get stuck, if you're lucky, kind of like how we were with the ram earlier this year, where he'd get his head stuck in the panel, he wouldn't fight it, he'd just kind of stand there. You know, if they start fighting it, that's when they can get in some problems. So all the lambs are in there now. They're all checking it out. They're looking good, they've been growing good, been getting plenty of feed, but this will help us really push them there to the end. And you know, things didn't really work out the way we wanted them to, but I got to get some more straw here in the pen and get some stuff done. But we'll come back and check on them when I'm feeding again, and I'll drop some feed in there and kind of see how they act then.